Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are diving deep into the dark woods of Hansel and Gretel. We're going to unpack its timeless themes, survival, temptation, and, that kind of wisdom you only get when things get really, really tough.
So right off the bat, the story doesn't start with some fantasy monster. No, it starts with something way more real and frankly, way more brutal. A decision made because of crushing poverty. The stepmother's words here, they just set the whole thing in motion. It's a journey that kicks off with the worst kind of betrayal you can imagine.
All right, Section 1, A Path Twice Lost. This is a story of ingenuity and desperation in the face of abandonment. So, you gotta understand Hansel and Gretel's first real test? It's not some witch or goblin. It's the raw, unforgiving wilderness, and the absolutely chilling fact that their own family has basically left them to die.
So, on that first awful night, you'd think they'd just crumble, right? But Hansel, he doesn't give in to despair. Not at all. The kid's prepared. He's got this clever plan that gives them a path back home, turning these simple, ordinary stones into these little beacons of hope, shining like scattered silver coins in the moonlight. Pretty smart.
And right here, you see Hansel's wisdom going head-to-head with Gretel's fear. This back and forth between them is absolutely crucial. And trust me, we're going to see it change as things get a whole lot darker. But for now, his cleverness, his ability to control just this one tiny piece of their world, well, it's enough. It gets the job done.
Okay, this slide right here really shows you how the stakes are getting higher. The second time around, the door's locked. No more pebbles. All Hansel's got is a measly piece of bread. And think about the difference, right? The stones were solid, permanent. They were a sign of human cleverness. But the breadcrumbs? Well, they're at the mercy of, nature.
And just like that, poof, the plan is gone. It's like the birds of the forest are just laughing at them. This moment right here, it's a huge turning point. The kids go from just being abandoned to being truly, hopelessly lost. The forest has literally swallowed their way home. And now they're being pushed into this deep, dark unknown.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, The Sweetest, Deadliest Trap. This is all about how a dream of salvation becomes a nightmare of captivity. So just when they're at their absolute lowest, starving, about to give up, they find something that seems way, way too good to be true. And of course, it is.
Just look at this. For a couple of starving, terrified kids, this house is the perfect metaphor for a temptation you just can't resist. It's not even a choice, really. They're driven by this basic biological need to survive, so they throw all caution to the wind and literally start eating the house that's about to become their prison.
And then they hear it. This raspy voice calls out. An old woman comes to the door and her eyes are gleaming like hot coals. It's such a chilling contrast to her words, which are all sickly sweet, promising warm pancakes and cozy beds. She is, without a doubt, the living, breathing embodiment of the trap they just walked straight into. So, the very next morning, bam! The mask of kindness is just ripped right off. The whole sweet illusion is shattered in an instant. Hansel is violently grabbed and thrown into an iron cage. The dream is officially an absolute nightmare. So, think about this. The place that was supposed to save them is now their prison. The person who offered them food is now a predator. And poor Gretel is basically a slave, forced to feed her own brother to fatten him up for the slaughter. Talk about a horrifying, twisted version of taking care of your family.
But even locked in a cage, Hansel's mind is still his best weapon, right? He figures out the witch can barely see and uses this little chicken bone to trick her. Day after day, he's buying them precious time. It's this brilliant, quiet act of defiance.
Which brings us to our next section, Wisdom Forged in Fire. A shift from passive survival to active resistance. Because, time was always going to run out. The witch's patience finally snaps, and that forces this final deadly showdown. And now the spotlight shifts completely to Gretel. She has to dig deep and find a kind of courage she never, ever knew she had. And there it is, that declaration. It's the terrifying climax of the whole story. No more tricks, no more delays. It is literally now or never for these kids. And you can just imagine that oven fire, roaring and waiting for them. And this is where we see Gretel's complete transformation. The same kid who was trembling with fear at the beginning, she's now the strategist. Her face might be pale, but she's determined. And she uses the witch's own arrogance right back at her, turning what looks like weakness into a truly deadly weapon. And with one powerful shove, it's over. In this incredible, brutal reversal,
The very thing meant to kill them becomes the key to their freedom. The evil is literally consumed by its own fire.
So, Section 4, The Treasure of Survival. The journey home isn't just an escape, it's a triumphant return. Because with the witch gone, Hansel and Gretel walk out of that house completely changed. They're not just survivors hiding in the woods anymore. They're victors. They've conquered evil.
And their reward isn't just freedom, as amazing as that is, it's actual wealth. These chests of pearls and jewels, they're a symbol really. They represent the incredible value of the courage and the wisdom they had to learn the hard way through all that suffering.
So let's just pause and think back to the beginning for a second. Remember? Their survival, that very first win they had, it all came down to these small, clever stones they found in the dirt. A perfect symbol of their initial resourcefulness. And now, look where they end up. Their future is secured by this incredible treasure that shines so much brighter than those pebbles ever could. It's the perfect bookend. It shows their complete transformation from abandoned kids to, really, the masters of their own fate, with a future that is finally bright. And so, their journey finally comes full circle. They've overcome abandonment, they've overcome temptation, and they've overcome pure evil, all to find a new, much brighter beginning. And when they get home, they find out their cruel stepmother is gone. The nightmare is truly over.
You know, there's a reason this story sticks with us. It's because it reminds us that even when you're in the darkest forest imaginable, courage and wisdom can light the way home. So it leaves us with a pretty big question for our own lives, doesn't it? What's the oven for the monsters we face today?